Hello, I'm Vidyut Das, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Durham College. Today I'm going to speak on the topic Metaphysical Poetry for BA first semester students. So let's go to the topic. The term metaphysical poets is applied to a group of poets in the 17th century. And these poets were grouped together because they employ similar techniques, and John Donne is generally called as their leader. The term metaphysics was first used by Dryden in his discourse concerning satire, that Donne affects the metaphysics. However, the accepted meaning of the term has less to do with these poets. To Dryden, it was Donne's use of logic and arguments in his poetry that he called metaphysics. In the 18th century, Samuel Johnson extended the term metaphysical from Donne to a school of poets in the 17th century who employ similar techniques both in secular poetry. Andrew Marvell, Abraham Cowley, to name two persons, and religious poetry by George Herbert and Henry Vaughan. These poets were what one may call anti-Aristotelian, in the sense that they were not imitative in nature, rather, they were new and seldom natural. As Samuel Johnson puts it in their poetry, I quote, "The most heterogeneous ideas are yoked by violence together." These poets had admirers in every age, but were criticized of being perversely ingenious and difficult due to the nature of their poetry. It was T.S. Eliot in the modern era who, in his Metaphysical Poets, brought these poets back into discussion. So, we will see now the nature of their poetry, since the term metaphysical refers to something beyond the physical, meta. But these poets of the 17th century, as I've already said, there was nothing metaphysical in the dictionary sense of the term. Rather, these poets will be using some techniques that was unknown earlier than the Elizabethan period, or even afterwards also. So let me speak on the nature of their poetry. The metaphysical poets were men of learning. It was as if to show their learning was the sole concern. These poets were dramatic in nature, and that was basically during to the background of the Renaissance. So Renaissance brought many new discoveries, knowledge, and new knowledge was coming in every day. So it was difficult for this particular group of scholars that we call metaphysical to have a solid idea about the world, this universe, people. Hence, when we look into their poetry, there's a sense of urgency, preoccupation with time, death. These are some of the issues that we find in these poets. And one very important and a very telling feature of these poets is the use of conceits and wits. Samuel Johnson called wit as a conceit. Anyway, these conceits were very much unlike Elizabethan conceits. Elizabethan love poetry has this tradition of what we may call persuading a lady love using witty dialogues. But rather, unlike that, the metaphysical conceit employs logic, arguments to prove their point. Often, a figure of speech is elaborated to the furthest stage to which ingenuity can carry it. So, they are very much witty, and the arguments is their favorite medium, and they will pull an argument, they will twist an argument, and to show their talent, their verbal talent, that is. And a conceit is often recognized by the use of far-fetched comparisons, like I said, and these are very unconventional in nature. So these characteristics are found in all the poets. I have already mentioned two groups. One is the religious poets, metaphysical that is, and the other group is what we may call typical, following the metaphysical line. So John Donne is said to be the leader of this group of poets. And let us see an example by John Donne. One of his poems, A Valediction Forbidding Morning. So let me speak on that a little bit. So in one of his poems, like I said, A Valediction Forbidding Morning, the background is something like his wife does not want John Donne to leave temporarily his premises, as she was in a very delicate condition. She was pregnant. So he had to move away for a short time. So his wife was naturally very sad. So in order to prevent or to stop his mistress, wife, that is, not to cry, so he wrote this poem, A Valediction Forbidding Mourning. That she should not mourn. So in that particular poem, what I'm trying to point out is the use of a metaphysical concept, that is the compass. So in that poem, John Donne compares the two lovers, that is the husband and wife, to the two legs of a compass. So once we see a compass, there are two legs. One is the fixed leg and the other one is the revolving one around it. So as per his argument, that even though there are two legs separated, so just like a compass is united at the top, the husband and the wife, that is John Donne and his wife, their souls are together, and the fixed foot of the compass will give base and support to the revolving one. So that will be the wife staying at home and giving support to John Donne. So this sort of argument, this sort of logic, I have pointed out one, there are many others. So we find in his poetry. The same goes for other poets also, whom we call metaphysical school of poets. That will be the end of this topic. Thank you.